Good evening, friends. Today I am here for a lecturate topic, and the topic of my lecturate is India-Israel relation. And I have divided this topic in 5 subparts. Very first, the history of both the relation, then the importance of Israel for India, then the current developments, then at the fourth, the recent the problems arising, and at last the solutions. So very first, starting with the history. So as we all know, Israel was not a nation before, but after the Second World War, Israelis started migrating from the Europe to the Palestine, and the relation between India and Israel were set up as the India recognized Israel as a nation in 1952. But the diplomatic ties were still not yet made because of the pressure from the Arab nations, as India used to import domestically for its domestic needs of the oil and the gas. So we never made the relations. But Israel supported India at various occasions, like in the 1971 war against the Pakistan, and Israel supported us. But after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, and soon after that in 1992, India set up the diplomatic relation with the Israel. And since then, both the nations have been in a very good relations. So now talking about the other aspect, the trade between India and Israel was around 200 million in the year 1992, and today it is around 4 to 5 billion dollar in 2024. And India and Israel has been also cooperating in the defense sector, as India has imported many things from the Israel, naming them the Falcon AWACS, that the air warning control system, also the spider radar system, and also the Taver T21, the guns, and also the radar which is used by the Indian Air Force in the Tejas Mark 1, which is also Israeli made, and also recently the Pegasus spyware software which was in the news, also of the Israel made. So now talking about the recent developments, in this year January 2022, both the countries set up the 30 years of friendship, and they celebrated this occasion by raising flags on each other country's flag on each other's historical monuments, both in Israel and India. And also, both the countries are cooperating in the terms of science and the technology, and also the agriculture fields. So now talking about the problems arising. So the problems are, the very first problem is both the countries faces terrorism, as India is facing terrorism from the from the Pakistan, and the Israel is facing terrorism from the Palestinian Hamas, that is the international terrorist organization. And now talking about the other challenges, so India is also facing a challenge from the Arab nations, as Arab nations continually criticize the Israel's occupation of Palestinian land, and also the attacks by the Israel on the Hamas terrorist organization. So India have to maintain a very balanced relation with both the Arab nations and also the Israel. So now talking about the solutions and the way forward. So as Israel is a very important partner for India, as India has gradually shifted its defense equipments from the Russia towards the Israel and the other Western countries. And Israel is also helping India in the Make in India, like it is sharing the defense technology and also the defense knowledge of all its equipment with the India and also the other field. So we need to maintain the good relation. Thank you.